Hi, welcome to this quick overview of payment forms available in Serial Key Manager. Today I would like to look at three main things. First of all, a short introduction to payment forms. Then we're going to take a look at features that are currently available, and finally some of the features that are going to be added in the nearest future. So why not just go directly to payment forms, and to do so you would have to navigate to serialkeymanager.com. The link is going to be provided below this video. So as you can see, I have a payment form here already. But what are payment forms? So what's the purpose? And the simple answer to this question is they are there to allow developers that are currently using Serial Key Manager to implement a payment solution into their applications. And the reason this is part of Serial Key Manager is because Serial Key Manager is a cloud-based licensing system. So payment forms allow you to generate new keys, for instance, during successful transactions. That's one of the examples. And the advantage here is then because they are integrated into a licensing system, it's very easy to keep track of all the keys, all the licenses, etc., and generate the correct ones, etc., and so forth. But we're going to look at this in more detail soon. So why not just have a look at my first payment form that I have available here. So if we just press, so I'm going to preview the payment form, and as you can see, it's impossible. But before we can preview the payment form, we have to add a payment processor. So if we just redo the steps, so we go to the main website here, we press on payment forms, we create a new payment form, so we could call this the second payment form, just to distinguish between those. Payment form. A description is kind of optional, it's not going to be displayed anywhere. So if we just create a new one, so that's kind of it. And if we press preview, we're not going to see any payment form yet. So in Serial Key Manager's payment form, there are two concepts to keep in mind. First of all, we have the payment form, which is what you saw in the beginning of this video. So it's kind of this payment form where your clients are going to enter their credit card information or use PayPal or any other option available, and confirm and receive all the licensing information they are required to have. But the second concept, which is not visible to clients, and that is a payment processor. And that's something that we have to keep track of. So as a developer, you have to keep track of what kind of payment processors you have. And today there is support for PayPal and Stripe. It's quite easy to set them up. So the reason why this payment form didn't work when we pressed preview is because we don't have a payment processor, and we need to have at least one. So let's go back. So if we just go back, if we go to payment forms, and we press on see the payment processors. Actually, we could have just pressed here, this plus sign on this payment form page. We could just press the plus sign. I'm going to call this one Stripe 1, for instance, and maybe we could call this development or test for testing purposes. Create a new payment processor, and now as you can see, we just have to double check it's Stripe we are using. Sandbox mode is optional, but really it's only for PayPal. So for Stripe, it's distinguished by this set of keys that you are using. And here I have, so if you go to the dashboard, so it kind of looks like this in test mode, that is, and you press account settings, and then you will have to press on API, and you will get two different kinds of keys. You will get the testing keys, a secret and a public, and a private key, or live keys as they are called, which are used in your real payment form. So I have them here, and why not just paste them into this payment payment processor. So the secret has to be here, and make sure that all the spaces, so basically you won't have additional spaces. Copy the string as it is with no additional characters. And I think I've done that. I hope yes. At least otherwise we'll notice that. Now we press save, and we go back to the payment form that we're currently working with. Now I think at least now we should be able to see a payment form. No? Oh, of course. One more thing, we have to save it, and that's quite important. Now we update the payment form. Oh yes, we have to select the Stripe processor, excuse me. So we have to select one. Here, now that's done. Now we have to save it. Now we update. And as you can see, we have our first payment form. It's quite clean though, because we haven't entered any item, we haven't specified any price, nor a currency, and we have to do that in order to make this work. So let's simply come up with a product. This could be payment form. So basically the heading here, if we just press on like this is basically the heading that is going to be on top of the page and in the title. The product can be, well, software protector or something. That could be one of them. Currency, you have to specify a 3-character long code. In this case, USD is US dollars, or SEK is Swedish kronas, or rubles. It's up to you. And the price here can be anything. You could type 30, for instance. And if we would like to integrate this payment form, basically if we'd like to have several processors, for instance, in this example, you can see that I have PayPal available as well. And if you'd like to have that, basically, if you'd like to have both Stripe and PayPal in the same payment form, then you have to add one by using this plus sign. But I'm going to stick with Stripe for this example. Now, two more things that we have to take, or one more thing really that we have to take a look at, and that is what's going to occur after a successful transaction. And we have two options. First, we can redirect to a custom page. So for example, if you have a custom website that is going to receive all this information, then you type it here. So HTTP can be anything, serialkeymanager.com, and for instance, if I would have a page called order complete dot something, or without a dot, and then that's it. Then it would send all this information to this page. Or the second option is to use the existing page for the result page that is going to be shown in the end of this transaction. So, and the cool thing about the custom or the page that is built into payment forms is that you can have variables. For example, let's add a request here. And I'm going to describe what these requests are doing. And I've actually, on my personal website, I have a page or a file called date.php. I hope that works. Yes. JSON is equal to true. Yes. So as you can see, when you send a request to this page with this parameter JSON is equal to yes, you're going to get the current date in JSON format. If we type it here and we tell Serial Key Manager that this is a data request, which basically means that we want to interpret the data somehow. Because if we would have specified void request, that basically means, okay, call this website and do nothing. But if we have a data request, we actually want to do something with the data. If we look at the structure of this JSON file, we can see that there is a variable date and it has a certain value. The cool thing here is that we can say, okay, thank you for your transaction, the current, oh, not transaction, for your order. The date is, and then you type date in this format. So if I just zoom in here, this is the way date is going to look like. So this is going to be replaced with what we get from this page during a successful transaction. Of course, you're not restricted to one of them. You can add more requests. You can add a request to your custom website, or etc. But the point of using request is that you, as a developer, for example, if you go to a product, oh, I don't seem to have any products. Well, that can be changed. So if we just say test 1, 2, 3, public, create. So if we go to test and we press create new key, and then we look at the code. There is a website here, or basically a page that you have to visit to generate a new key. And of course, you have to enable quite many things have to be enabled since this is a new user, but basically we can enable everything. Key generation, save. So if we go back to all the products, we look at this product, we see that we have a new key which corresponds to this one. If we say that JSON is equal to true, it's going to look like this. So basically, you can specify, you can add a new request that points to this URL, and during a successful transaction, you can, for instance, add a new statement here. Your key is key, and then this would be replaced with a new key that the user is able to use to activate their application. So why not just look at, or basically have a look at the way this is going to work, because I think everything is correctly set up. Of course, the product, software protector. Currency. Oh, we've forgot to specify the currency. Now we have a payment options. Currency is US dollars, $30, and we have a custom message, and this is empty. If we preview the form again, and we search for testing Stripe, basically this is going to we're going to have some example credit cards that we are able to use, and simply, actually these since we're in test mode, it doesn't really matter if this makes sense as long as the expiry date is hasn't expired yet, and this can be anything. So now let's look at the way it works. So we press confirm, and if everything is correctly configured, we're supposed to get to a new page. And again, so thank you for your order. The date is this and this and this. So we have a new date here, and we got the date by navigating to this website. So basically, we called the development website here, and we received the date, and then we inserted the date into the message here. And of course, this can be made even more complex. You can, for instance, redirect all these successful transactions to your website, and using the web API, there are some methods that can validate whether this transaction is true or if it's a valid transaction, and if it is, you can process the order differently. Otherwise, you would have to specify things as requests. So for example, you have a certain query string here, you send the request to your website, and it's going to probably enable some features, or maybe return some information, etc., etc. But of course, requests are optional. It doesn't mean that you have to have them there. You can simply process the request, or basically show your customer any page like this or anything that is similar, etc. And then you would look at all the transactions, and then you would say, oh, I have a new transaction here, and you would talk to your customer and say, okay, you have this order reference, etc., and process the order manually. Although in most cases it's preferred to use to set up an automatic payment system. So customers place an order using these payment forms. It's processed. As you can see, it's quite simple to send a request to Serial Key Manager to generate. Where do I have the key? Yeah, here. To generate a new key, and then show the customer the key. So the customer is then going to open their application, insert the key, and then everything is done. And there's nothing that has to be done on your side. So it's quite automated from the beginning. So I think that's what I like. That's kind of it. That's what I want to describe in this presentation. As you can see, Serial Key Manager Payment Forms is still in development mode. I mean, even though it works, everything works, it has been tested in production as well. There are certain things that have to be added, and I'm going to briefly tell you what is going to be added. And one of the things that is going to be added is the ability to change the price. If you, for example, using your application, you would like to, oh, this customer has some sort of discount, so you would like to change the price for that particular customer, and that's going to be achieved using our web API. And of course, it's not going to be that easy to. It's not just going to be that you're sending some sort of query string and say this, the price is going to be this and this and this, but it's going to be a part of the new web API that's going to be available this year. That's going to allow you securely change settings or even create new payment forms through your application. And finally, if we just summarize the purpose of payment forms and why they are good, and the kind of, if we just summarize the purpose, well, that is to allow you to integrate payments with your licensing solution, so that you can have customers buying your application and directly getting a new key that works straight away without you having to log into a website checking, oh, this customer has paid or has paid for the product, and now I have to process it. So basically you would have to do something. But here, once you've set up a working system, you don't have to spend any time on actually processing orders, because they're going to be processed automatically. And finally, why are payment forms good? And the reason is that once you've set up a payment processor such as Stripe or PayPal, it's quite easy to change things. It's quite easy to add new payment forms with a different for different products, etc. So it's really here to reduce both the development costs as well as the maintenance costs. So as you can see, that's the way it works. And if you would have any questions, please feel free to ask the question on the support website, which should have a category called payment forms. You just go to the forums here and you'll be able to ask more questions about that. Of course, you're able to ask questions right away below this video, or send a message so that someone will get in touch with you. So I think that was it, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Hope you'll have a great day. Bye.